Good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of ETBU Extra for Season 2. Hello, I'm Mike Mickett, the voice for the Tigers, and each Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. we'll be talking Tiger sports right here on the ETBU Sportsnet and also playback later on YouTube. We'll be talking with the coaches that are in season. So today we've got lined up the head coach from the Tiger football team, Joshua Eargle, Lindsey Mash, head volleyball coach here at ETBU. We're from Paul Grant, who is the head coach of men's and women's, and also we'll be talking cross country as well. Thank you for clicking in today on the ETBU Sportsnet. And we have a different location this year. Last year we were in a restaurant here in Marshall, but now we're going to do it each Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. in the Huffman Student Activities area right here on the campus of ETBU, right in the Student Center. And we've got a great studio audience out there, don't we? Yeah, I hear them. All right. Of course, they're enjoying lunch from Sept Connection right here in the Ornelas Student Center. Well, let's bring head coach Joshua Eargle into the show. And coach, you opened up the season Saturday night against McMurray. Unfortunately, McMurray won 49-22, but as you've had time to visit with your coaches, look over the tape, what did you take positive from that ball game?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, the first thing that's really awesome is about Saturday was just ETBU in general. You've got 3 hours before kickoff, Tiger Alley starts. You've got Tiger Walk in the Grove area down there outside of the stadium, and all the student affairs had a lot of events going on, and you've got just a whole area packed out with family members, supporters of our program, student body, faculty, alumni. It was just an exciting atmosphere to walk through 2 hours before kickoff and with our young men. And then you go into the stadium, and everybody outside the stadium goes into the stadium, so you got an unbelievable atmosphere. So really, everything around what went on outside those lines was phenomenal. What went on inside the lines wasn't what we expect, and it's not the bar that we're setting for our young men, nor what they're capable of achieving. So we've got some work to do, and we've been working on that this week in practice, but couldn't say enough, couldn't brag enough on our students and faculty and staff and alumni and parents for just supporting these young men, the hard work they're putting in.
Now, at the start of the ball game, you're down 21-0, but the good thing I saw was you had a little rally there the first half, and some things could go a different way and a bit different ball game in the second half. But I was very pleased with the effort and the character your team showed. Even though they fell behind early, they still battled back. Well,
you know, being the first game of the year, I think we had a lot of pregame jitters, so to speak. We had a lot of guys going through for the first time and playing college football for the first time, or playing it for the first time for us. And that showed up a little bit. We got off to a slow start, but that's just the character of our young men. I mean, our guys are here to play a high level of football, and they're capable of more than capable of doing that. And it just took us a little while to get going. Once we started getting going in the second quarter, that belonged to us, and it could have been 28-22 going into halftime with us having all the momentum. We just got to play another minute and 13 seconds of the last drive there defensively, and we can have all the momentum going in the locker room and bring that out with us and really finish the game like we should have.
Now, I know after each ball game that you play, you like to highlight some players in the ball game and give them Player of the Week awards. Talk about the Player of the Week for the first game of the season.
Well, you know, I think that what's important for our football team to do right now is to really focus in on our special teams. And so going into the season, we've spent a lot of extra practice time and individual parts of special teams, and just in general in the schemes we're working on. It really paid off Saturday. I thought our special teams were really, really good. And so we're recognizing Special Teams Player of the Week. This week it was Ryan Travis. Ryan Travis handled all of our duties, kicking the ball, punting, kickoffs, and PATs. And he was 2 for 2 on PATs. He kicked 2 balls on kickoff back in the end zone. One ended up in a touchback, the other one they brought out. And punts, he averaged 38.8 yards, which is the best we've had in a single game since we've been here. So very pleased with Ryan Travis out of Jacksonville High School in Jacksonville, Texas, right here, East Texas boy, and a great young man representing us as a sophomore here at ETBU.
Let's talk about this week's opponent. The Tigers travel long road trip over to Tyler to play at Rose Stadium against Texas College. I made on the broadcast Saturday that was probably the closest road trip that ETBU have ever, but then I go back and think a few years ago when we played Louisiana College at Independence Stadium. That's a little bit longer trip to Shreveport. I mean, shorter trip to Shreveport than Tyler, but you got a nice short road trip to play Texas College. Give me a scouting report on the Steers from the Central States Football League.
Well, you know, I tell you, we'd rather play all 10 games on Ornelas Stadium with our student body sitting over there, right, and our band playing. But if you got to go on a road trip, why not go to a historic stadium an hour and a half away or so over in Tyler, where a lot of our young men are from, over a third of our roster being from East Texas area. So they all know where that stadium's at, playoff games, home games, etc. But it's going to be an exciting time for us to go over there and just focus in on a regional opponent where we recruit a lot of young men from, and play in front of parents and student body to travel over there and make the short trip Saturday at 2 o'clock.
course, obviously being a short trip, it'll be like a day trip, correct?
Absolutely.
So you'll take them out early and get them there and get them like acclimated to being Rose Stadium. Of course, you said many of them play there. Turf Field at Rose Stadium, 2 p.m. kickoff against Texas College. Coach, start of a new year, you get your team together and they vote on team captains. Kind of explain that process that the Tiger football goes through to elect men as team captains, which is an honor for the 4 who get elected every year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved with a lot of different programs. There's a lot of ways to select team captains. We take the philosophy as a coaching staff that we want our young men to embrace their program. We're going to hold them to a standard. We're going to put ideals in front of them and goals and set long-term, short-term, mid-term goals for them to achieve and guide and direct those young men. But we really want them to take it over. And so the way we handle captains here at ETBU on our football team is we allow them to select their own captains. So every junior and senior is on the ballot. By that time, they've had an opportunity to be involved with our coaching staff, and we feel like being around what our expectations are and demonstrate that to their teammates. We voted 2 nights before our season opener, and they voted for 2 offensive and 2 defensive captains. This year, our captains were David James and Bryce Hale, 2 senior defensive linemen on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't think they could have done a better job picking from the defense the guys they had to select from. And offensively, another lineman on the offensive side was Tyler Scott, and then Kendall Robertson, our running back. Those 2 guys were our captains on the offensive side. So with those 4 guys in the selection process of those guys voting for them, they made their voice heard. The tallies were casted very high in those 4 young men's name in their favor. And so we're excited about those 4 guys leading us this year.
Of course, 2 of those captains, Kendall Robertson and David James, had good games on offense at this side of the ball. Kendall Robinson, the running back, 19 carries, 116 yards, touchdown runs of 1 and 9. And then David James had 7 tackles in the ballgame and 1 sack. You like to see the defensive line you're coaching this year get those sacks.
Yeah, we want those. I mean, Coach Bowling's coaching our defensive line. I'm with the linebackers, but I am coordinator this year.
You're the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but no, I thought that just like us as a team as a general, it just took us a quarter to wake up defensively. But once we started waking up, those guys started flying around and doing some good things. And David James, as a captain, was leading that charge. He did a really good job containing the quarterback and got loose back in the backfield a couple times. And him and C.J. Johnson, who you'll hear about from in a little bit, did a phenomenal job being in the backfield all night, as well as a host of Tigers. But those guys really played well on the defensive side for us.
Now, I saw some video of the team that came out Saturday with the running in the stadium before the national anthem, and I saw you out in front.
Yeah.
Is that something you normally do? I don't remember seeing you there last year.
Well, no, we just we kind of came down through some flags that were put up this year and kind of have our own little entryway, so to speak, into another stadium. But last year they just did a phenomenal job of making a home field advantage and really establishing that as a place to play in the way we play at home, being at high caliber. So they were excited to take that field the first game, and I was excited with them. I mean, I may get old, right?
You still run, Coach. That's why I brought it up. I was impressed with how you ran out with the team Saturday night.
Well, I still feel like I could play with them, and that's completely false. There's no way I could. But as a coach, you're playing through them. Like every play they're out there, I'm playing defensive end with David James. I'm playing outside linebacker with C.J. I'm playing inside linebacker with Caleb Taylor. I mean, it's all running through my head, and so we had fun pregame. This year we're able to get out there a little bit earlier. We're able to thank our Lord and Savior for our abilities with the PA announcer, and we're also able to thank our country and the sacrifice of the men and women and what they've done for us by the national anthem and being out there for all those festivities. I think it's a phenomenal move by the AFC and allowing us to be out there for that this year.
Visiting with the head coach of the Tiger football team, Joshua Eargle, here on ETBU Sports Extra, live from the Student Center on the campus of East Texas Baptist University. Last question for you, Coach. Keys to the game Saturday for a Tiger victory over Texas College, your second non-conference game of the year. Yeah,
I think that just for us to focus on us, we've got to start faster, and I think that's been the theme of what we've been trying to get done in practice this week. Really, that was kind of our demise Saturday. It really wasn't how we finished; it was really kind of more how we started. And I think our young men see that. They see the opportunity we left on the field here at home, and now we've got to go on the road and play up a division, play a scholarship team, NAIA team in Texas College, and we've got to find a way to start early and get our motors revved up, so to speak, and go out there and never look back and play our game and take our fight to them instead of sitting there and waiting to see what our opponent does. And really, I'll say this to our team every week, it's more about us than our opponent. And really this week, even more so than ever, because it's really about us starting fast, Mike.
Coach Eargle, thank you for your time today on ETB Extra.
Thank you.
And go Tigers. Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff against Texas College. Road trip over to Tyler to play in historic Rose Stadium. Coming up next on ETB Extra, live from the campus of East Texas Baptist University, we're going to talk to one of the Tiger football players, C.J. Johnson, next on ETB Extra. Don't go away.